In those days, giants walked the earth. Genesis 6 verse 4. Hey, celestial seekers! Welcome to another deep dive into the mysteries of our ancient past. Today, we're exploring the enigmatic world before the Great Flood. Imagine a time when lifespans stretched hundreds of years, the climate was lush and verdant, and divine beings interacted directly with humanity. This was the pre-flood era, a world vastly different from our own. People lived in a harmonious environment, protected by a water vapor layer that contributed to their extraordinary longevity. But it wasn't just the longevity that made this period unique, it was a time when the lines between the divine and human were blurred. Have you ever wondered what life was like in such a world? How did people live their daily lives? What kind of societies did they build? Let's dive deeper into this enigmatic era. The people of the pre-flood world experienced a quality of life that is almost unimaginable today. The water vapor canopy theory suggests that this layer created a greenhouse effect, leading to a stable, temperate climate that fostered health and longevity. This canopy may have also filtered harmful UV rays, contributing to the extended lifespans mentioned in biblical records. Think about living for centuries. According to these records, individuals like Methuselah lived for 969 years. With such longevity, people would have amassed incredible wisdom and knowledge, passing down traditions and skills through many generations. This extended lifespan allowed for the development of highly sophisticated societies, rich in culture and innovation. Yet, despite this seemingly idyllic existence, the seeds of corruption and moral decay were sown. Over time, people grew complacent and began to stray from the righteous path. The Bible hints at a gradual increase in wickedness, violence, and immorality. This decline set the stage for the events that would lead to the Great Flood. So, what do you think daily life was like in this pre-flood world? How do you imagine people interacted with each other and their environment? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss this fascinating period in history together. By the way, if you're enjoying this exploration of ancient history, be sure to check out our other videos and subscribe to Celestial Chronicles for more intriguing content. Lifespans and environments. Imagine living for centuries. According to the Bible, people like Methuselah lived for 969 years. This wasn't just a random occurrence, it was a feature of the world before the flood. Back then, the earth was believed to be enveloped in a water vapor canopy, which created a stable and temperate climate. This environment, free from harmful UV rays and extreme weather, is thought to have contributed to the extraordinary health and longevity of the people. Consider what it would be like to live for hundreds of years. You'd see generations of your family grow up. You'd accumulate vast amounts of knowledge and experience. Imagine the wisdom and skills that someone could develop over such a long life. Society would benefit greatly from the presence of elders with centuries of experience. This extended lifespan allowed people to pass down knowledge through many generations, preserving culture and traditions in ways we can only imagine today. But long life also brought its challenges. Over centuries, people might grow complacent or bored. Corruption and moral decay started to seep into their societies. The Bible hints at a gradual increase in wickedness and immorality. It's fascinating to think about how society might change over such long periods. People might see the rise and fall of entire civilizations within their lifetimes. In this lush, green world, the stable climate allowed for abundant vegetation and ample food supply. The environment was likely very different from today's world. There were no deserts or ice caps, just vast expanses of fertile land teeming with life. This abundance would have supported large populations and contributed to the flourishing of early human societies. However, this seemingly perfect world had its downside. Over time, people began to take their long lives and bountiful environment for granted. Instead of fostering gratitude and stewardship, it led to increased selfishness and corruption. This moral decline is a significant theme in the story of the pre-flood world, ultimately setting the stage for the Great Flood. Think about the societal changes that could occur over such long periods. How would governments and social structures evolve? How would technology and culture develop when people have centuries to innovate and perfect their crafts? The possibilities are endless, and it's a fascinating thought experiment. So, what do you think it would have been like to live in this pre-flood world? How do you imagine daily life, work, and social interactions unfolded in such a long-lived society? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's explore this intriguing period of human history together. Divine-human interactions. One of the most fascinating aspects of the world before the flood was the direct interaction between divine beings and humans. According to the Bible, God communicated directly with people, providing guidance and instructions. But it wasn't just God who interacted with humans, there were also the sons of God, divine beings who played a significant role in this ancient world. These divine beings, often interpreted as angels or celestial beings, descended to earth and took human wives. Their unions resulted in the birth of the Nephilim, described as giants and mighty warriors. The existence of the Nephilim is one of the most intriguing and mysterious elements of pre-flood history. Who were these sons of God, and why did they choose to live among humans? What impact did their giant offspring have on human societies? The presence of the Nephilim would have drastically altered the dynamics of the pre-flood world. Imagine living alongside beings of immense strength and size, both revered and feared. These giants would have stood out not just physically but also in terms of influence and power. Their legendary status might have inspired awe and respect, but also fear and conflict. Interactions between divine beings and humans were not always peaceful. The mixture of divine and human often led to chaos and strife. The Nephilim, with their extraordinary abilities, could dominate and control, potentially leading to tyranny and oppression. Their presence might have contributed to the growing wickedness and violence described in biblical accounts. This period was marked by a unique blend of the divine and mortal. Divine beings directly influencing human affairs would have had profound implications. They might have introduced advanced knowledge and skills, changing the course of human development. But their interference also blurred the boundaries between the celestial and the earthly, leading to moral and social dilemmas. Consider the everyday life of people during this time. How did they perceive these divine beings and their giant offspring? Did they view them as protectors or oppressors? How did these interactions shape their religious beliefs and societal norms? The blending of divine and human elements would have created a complex and dynamic society, rich in myths, legends, and cultural transformations. The Bible suggests that these divine-human interactions contributed to the corruption and moral decay of the pre-flood world. The influence of the fallen angels, who rebelled against God, further complicated the spiritual landscape. Their presence on earth fueled the spread of wickedness, leading to increased violence and immorality. This unique period in history raises many questions. What would it have been like to witness such divine interactions? How would you react to living alongside beings of such power and mystery? How did these interactions shape the course of human history? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. Let's delve deeper into this fascinating era and explore the profound impact of divine-human interactions on the ancient world. Rebellion and spiritual warfare. The story of the pre-flood world isn't complete without discussing the rebellion of Lucifer and the fallen angels. Lucifer, once a high-ranking angel, was renowned for his beauty and wisdom. However, his pride led him to believe he could overthrow God. This rebellion against the divine order resulted in his expulsion from heaven, along with a third of the angels who chose to follow him. This monumental event marked the beginning of a cosmic struggle between good and evil, known as spiritual warfare. Lucifer, now referred to as Satan, and his followers, the fallen angels, were cast down to earth. Their presence on earth had a profound impact on humanity. These fallen angels sought to corrupt and influence human affairs, spreading their rebellion against God to the mortal realm. This spiritual warfare was not just a distant, cosmic battle, it had real, tangible effects on the daily lives of people. The fallen angels, also known as demons, used their powers to lead humans astray. They tempted people into acts of wickedness and immorality, furthering the corruption that was already beginning to take root in human societies. The influence of these malevolent beings exacerbated the growing violence and depravity in the pre-flood world. They encouraged idolatry, the worship of false gods, and other practices that turned people away from their Creator. Lucifer's pride and ambition had dire consequences not only for the angels who followed him but also for humanity. The spiritual warfare initiated by this rebellion introduced a persistent struggle between good and evil that would endure throughout history. Humans, caught in this conflict, faced the constant temptation to stray from the path of righteousness. Consider the impact of living in a world where such spiritual warfare was a daily reality. People would have experienced a heightened sense of spiritual awareness, constantly choosing between following God's commandments and succumbing to the temptations presented by the fallen angels. The presence of these demonic beings would have created an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty, as people navigated a world fraught with moral and spiritual peril. This period of intense spiritual conflict also saw the rise of individuals who resisted the influence of the fallen angels. Figures like Noah, who remained faithful to God, stood out as beacons of righteousness in a world overcome by darkness. Their steadfastness and commitment to divine principles provided hope and guidance for others seeking to live virtuous lives amidst the chaos. The rebellion of Lucifer and the fallen angels is a stark reminder of the consequences of pride and disobedience. It serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of turning away from the divine order and the devastating impact that such actions can have on both celestial and earthly realms. This spiritual warfare, initiated in the pre-flood world, set the stage for the ongoing battle between good and evil that continues to shape human history. How do you think the presence of fallen angels influenced the development of human societies? What would it have been like to live in a world where spiritual warfare was a constant reality? Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below, and let's explore the profound implications of this cosmic struggle together. Noah and the Ark. In the midst of a world filled with corruption and wickedness, there was one man who stood out for his righteousness, Noah. According to the Bible, Noah was a just and upright man who found favor in the eyes of God. As humanity's moral decay reached its peak, God decided to cleanse the earth with a great flood, sparing only Noah, his family, and pairs of every living creature. Noah's task was monumental. God instructed him to build an ark, a massive vessel that would serve as a sanctuary during the flood. This was no small feat. The ark was to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high, made of gopher wood and sealed with pitch inside and out. Noah, despite the enormity of the task and the skepticism of those around him, obeyed God's commands without hesitation. Imagine the dedication and faith required to undertake such a project. Noah worked tirelessly, day after day, year after year, constructing the ark. His neighbors must have thought he was mad. They likely ridiculed him, unable to comprehend the impending disaster. Yet, Noah remained steadfast, driven by his faith and commitment to God's will. Gathering the animals was another immense challenge. Noah had to ensure that every kind of animal, from the smallest insects to the largest mammals, had a place on the ark. This task required not only logistical planning but also a deep understanding of the natural world. The animals came to Noah, guided by divine intervention, and he meticulously organized them, ensuring that each pair had sufficient space and provisions for the duration of their time on the ark. As the construction neared completion, the skies began to darken. Noah and his family gathered the last of their supplies and prepared to embark on the ark. The first drops of rain began to fall, and soon, the heavens opened, and the floodwaters surged. For 40 days and 40 nights, the rain poured down, covering the earth and wiping away the corruption and wickedness that had taken root. Inside the ark, Noah and his family faced a new set of challenges. They had to care for the diverse collection of animals, ensuring that each one was fed and healthy. The noise and commotion inside the ark must have been overwhelming, but Noah and his family persevered, sustained by their faith and hope for a new beginning. The floodwaters eventually began to recede, and the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. After sending out a raven and a dove to find dry land, Noah knew it was safe to leave the ark. He and his family stepped out into a drastically changed world, one cleansed of its former wickedness. They were the sole survivors of a divine judgment, tasked with repopulating and renewing the earth. Noah built an altar to God, offering sacrifices in gratitude for their deliverance. God made a covenant with Noah, symbolized by the rainbow, promising never to destroy the earth with a flood again. This covenant marked a new beginning for humanity, a fresh start in a world cleansed by the waters of the flood. Noah's story is a testament to the power of faith and obedience. It reminds us that even in the darkest times, righteousness and steadfastness can lead to salvation and renewal. How would you have reacted in Noah's place, facing such a monumental task amidst widespread doubt and ridicule? What lessons can we draw from Noah's unwavering faith and dedication? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's reflect on this extraordinary story together. The flood and its aftermath. The day finally came when the heavens opened, and the fountains of the deep burst forth. The floodwaters rose, covering the entire earth and bringing an end to the corrupt civilization that had turned away from God. This cataclysmic event was unlike anything humanity had ever experienced, and it reshaped the world forever. For 40 days and 40 nights, the rain poured relentlessly. The floodwaters engulfed everything, rising higher than the tallest mountains. Inside the ark, Noah, his family, and the animals were safe, but the experience must have been both awe-inspiring and terrifying. They were surrounded by the sound of torrential rain and the creaking of the ark as it floated on the vast expanse of water. During this time, Noah and his family had to maintain their faith and hope. They took care of the animals, each species with its own needs and behaviors. The ark became a microcosm of the world, a floating sanctuary where life continued amidst the chaos outside. Imagine the perseverance and patience required to endure this extended period of isolation and uncertainty. Finally, the rain ceased, and the floodwaters began to recede. After months of drifting, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Noah waited patiently for the land to dry, sending out a raven and then a dove to see if it was safe to disembark. When the dove returned with an olive leaf, it was a sign that the earth was beginning to recover, and dry land was appearing. Noah and his family stepped out into a world transformed. The landscape was drastically altered, with new rivers, lakes, and a changed topography. The flood had cleansed the earth of its former wickedness, providing a fresh start for humanity. They were the pioneers of a new beginning, tasked with rebuilding and repopulating the world. One of Noah's first acts after leaving the ark was to build an altar and offer sacrifices to God. This act of gratitude and worship pleased God, who made a covenant with Noah and his descendants. The rainbow became the symbol of this covenant, a divine promise that never again would a flood destroy all life on earth. This covenant marked a new chapter in human history. Noah and his family had survived a divine judgment, and they were given the responsibility to nurture and protect the new world. The longevity of life decreased, the climate changed, and humanity had to adapt to these new conditions. The story of the flood and its aftermath teaches us about the consequences of moral decay and the importance of faith and obedience. Noah's unwavering faith and dedication saved his family and preserved life on earth. This narrative also highlights the themes of renewal and divine mercy, as God provided a second chance for humanity. As we reflect on this profound story, consider how we might respond to such a transformative event. What lessons can we draw from Noah's experience about resilience, faith, and starting anew? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue exploring these timeless lessons together.